Hi, welcome to Giants Helping Giants. And my goal with this podcast is to introduce home service businesses or businesses that serve their local area with experts who can help you grow your business. So listen to their tips, contact them if you think it's a good match, and really share with me anybody that you know that helps local businesses grow. I would love to introduce them to my followers and to the followers of my guests. So here we go. Today's guest is Daniel Ruke, but we all call him Ruke, and he is one of my coaches. So I would love for him to share what he does and let you get to know him and see if maybe this would be a good match for you as a coach. So, hey, Ruke, how are you doing?
Holy cow, that's awesome. I am doing amazing. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, thank you for being here. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do?
So, I am a woman ran business and a woman ran household, so I do what I'm told.
That's a smart man.
Yeah, it's super, super easy. So, I guess I'll start with a little story from my mom. Well, okay, I'm sorry, directly branding, marketing, and sales. And I do it in a way that's ridiculously powerful and good, and it feels good for those who use it and receive it. It's amazing. Yeah. But I build dreams. That's my job. I'm a dream builder, and I've lived a dream on top of a dream on top of a dream. And I allow others and help others achieve theirs. And that's super, super important.
So what do you think? So is there something there that's more important as far as the branding, the marketing, or are they all level of importance?
Well, so integrating them all, being conscious of them all as you produce X, Y, and Z. A lot of people keep those in silos, and that's why it's fragmented and it's disconnected. And so it doesn't work. And when you're doing your marketing and not, and you've been on these calls with us too, right? And you talk to people too, and they're saying, "Well, yeah, I got my marketing going," and you're going, "But how are you making money with it?" Well, I'm blasting out here and I'm blasting, but okay, but how are you making, what is the tactic? I can't tell you how many times you hear someone going, "Well, how are you going to put butts in seats in that event?" Or how are you going to get people to get to there? And there is no sales conversation around it at all. It's, well, then I'm going to build some videos, and then well, who are you going to send it to? You have no audience. How are you building that? So it's that kind of thing. You have to be conscious about all that. And I think the brand sets the tone, the expectation of an experience. The marketing is the experience that pre-sells people, not in a gross way. And the sales, honestly, if you do the other two pieces right, you're just a great customer service person that people just buy from. That's the ultimate goal. Yeah.
So really, we want to build that relationship up so that they, as you often say, know, like, and trust us, and it's
Right.
easy to say yes to.
Yeah. Yeah. So so like is like, ha ha ha. So that's funny. That's my first joke of the day. Like is 80% of the sales. 80% of the sales if they like you. And people don't. So the old way is know, like, and trust. The new way that we do is like, trust, and now you actually want to get to know us. So if you focus on that, people will go ahead and go, ah. And that's also about being the customer service thing. So like when you set up the marketing for your clients, right? That says what they do, but it's done in a great way. Rely on those things. Rely on your marketing to do the job so that you don't have to do the selling. And that's a beautiful way to show up in people's world.
I think that confuses a lot of local business owners because they're like, well, shouldn't, I don't know what my marketing should do. I think it's the major problem for most business owners.
That is good. Yeah. Wow, that's a statement. I actually hear that sometimes. And it's like, okay. So I would tell you again, the brand sets the experience, the marketing is getting the word out about it, right? And then when they come into your world, then the sales takes over. But marketing really just drives eyeballs somewhere to a destination. And I would also say that the brand attitude, and in today's world, it's not sales that you're putting out there. You got to infiltrate your customer's lifestyle. They got to see that lifestyle. Oh, I want to be a part of that. And that's very, very important. And a lot of people don't use that. And that definitely needs to be in your marketing as well. Portray the lifestyle of your customer and what they want. And they'll look at you and go, yeah, that's a brand I align myself with. We have similar beliefs. We have similar desires. We want similar outcomes. It's something I can rely upon. That's important.
So some of the tips you teach us is like reaching out to people on social media, more specifically LinkedIn. Can you
Yeah.
talk about your process with that?
Yeah. And if you're talking also small businesses, because I know some of the people you deal with, I'm going to say it from this way. You need to have brand champions, right? And you should champion your customers. And so that would be on Facebook. If someone comments, I cannot tell you, and I know you see this every day, how many people comment on a brand's Facebook and it goes unanswered.
Mm.
All I mean, seriously, this is someone walking into your store and your people in the store have their head down going, well, I'm just going to wait for them to bring the credit card to me. Right. I'm not going to greet them. I'm waiting. Where's it? Because most people treat the marketing like that too, as well. They're like, I'm just going to wait for you to swipe the credit card. You don't do that. You walk up and go, hey, it's great seeing you. Can I help you? Online, that's vital to have the same attitude as if they walked into your store. But people don't treat it that way. And that's also the expectation of marketing. They think, well, we're doing the marketing. Why isn't the register ringing? Well, that's just part of the process. It's a complete cycle that has to happen there. And so you need to reach out to these people and just be their super fan and say, hey, I hope you have an amazing day. I mean, how many times look, if your sales are struggling as a store or brick and mortar, whatnot, how many times have you just reached out to your fans and say, hey, I just hope you had a great week? Right. Then they go, oh, this brand cares. So yes, you got to answer the questions. Yes, you got to be responsive, but just tell them, share love with them. And it doesn't have to be buy this and we're doing the sale. That's okay to do, right? Most people don't. You should do that, but you should also be out there cheerleading, championing them. That's what builds the relationship and the loyalty that you're looking for. That works on LinkedIn, that works on Facebook, that works on Instagram, the whole 9 yards. TikTok.
That's great. I mean, participating and getting to know them and like you said, just telling them that you're there and that you're a real person. Yeah.
That you
So,
care. I think that's the biggest thing. That's what people miss is they care. And then they go, I like this brand. Not that I need the brand. I want to buy. I like this brand. And when they like it, they're there forever.
so you are an AI fan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
At
What do
times.
you think sometimes when it's working?
Well, when it's working, but when it's done right.
What
Yeah.
are some areas that you think people should consider looking at using AI in a
Yeah.
business?
I was just having a conversation with my dear friend this morning, and we were talking about how I guess I'll put on business development and salespeople here. They don't do research. They don't research the person they're talking to, the company they're trying to get their foot in the door, none of that stuff. And all the data is available. So we were talking about this is with a service company that services roofs and stuff like that. So you can pull the data for permits, know what house has what, how old it is. So you know exactly who right now, their insurance is going, you got to have a new roof. That's available. And so AI, by the way, talking about AI, well, we have agents that go out there, AI agents, the little robots, go out there and it pulls like, here's your hit list. Here's the people who have the roofs that are ready for you. Here's the locations. Here's the locations that can afford you. Here's the communities that have it. So not only that, you now have a cluster of people and it prioritizes it based on how you sell. So just having that extra thought means that when you're doing your cold call, there's already a need. You're calling knowing there's a need. So what do you focus on there? You're not doing dumb discovery calls like, well, how old's your roof, ma'am? And what kind of, all that weird stuff. You don't need to have that. You know that's there. So all you do is focus on the like, focus on being personable. That is huge. If you do the research where people spend their time on the calls and talking to people and knocking on doors, they're asking those things and you're coming and going, I know nothing about you. So we do a lot of sales calls within, and I mean phones, that's what that is. And one of the things that we say that I teach and we practice every day is it's not important when you're talking to someone, it's not important that they know who you are. It's important that they know you know who they are. And that's what that due diligent research does. Now, our AI that we have does that for you. You get a little tip sheet going, here's what they're about, their likes personally, professionally, where you connect with them, what you have in common. So you got some icebreakers and what they actually need from you. So it tells you, say this, this, and this. These are some things they really do need from you. It is pretty cool.
which saves you, like you said, so much time, but it's so personal. I mean, it's
Yeah,
kind of a no-brainer.
it is, but it also changes your energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because people, when they're sitting there talking to someone, they're processing and trying to dig through their mind, their techniques, and all their weirdness of sales and all, while they're trying to listen. And they're going, "Well, what can I sell them, and how can I get in here?" And I mean, that's weird. And they're building rapport just for fake rapport's sake, right? And then they're asking questions that honestly you can walk into the call. No, there's very little things that there's very little times that you can't do that. I mean, I really, I mean, I build engines for it, right? So what ours does. So you can always do this, right? So when you do that and you already have that information, your focus is now different. Your focus is on the human in front of you. That's an incredible thing that AI does. And of course, it tells you predictive, ours does at least. Ours predicts the conversation, predicts what they need. What if you're B2B, it talks about where their industry is, it gives you industry intel. So you're showing up not just an expert about them, but an expert in their industry, which is a double whammy, beautiful, like, that's a beautiful, magical thing, And I love that part. So when you do that, all you're doing there is just having a conversation with them. And they go, I really like you. I really trust you. So what do you have to offer me? I can't tell you how many people come onto my Zoom and go, and I had two this morning. All right, give me the spiel. Ready to buy. I want to hear the spiel. Let's go.
Yeah, it's a amazing process, just the knowledge that you can have before even either coming to somebody's door or picking up the phone.
And I think that's the number one thing that people miss is the research part. And that's what we're fascinated. Even with our game changer planner, where it goes to your LinkedIn, pulls who really likes you, who's ready to buy from you, and what do they need to say from you, and it even tells you what the social media needs to be, even from their industries and yours. And that's incredible stuff because you really are playing to what's real, not guessing, shotgunning, and yeah, it's so wild.
So many doors are opened here. It's just, I love, I mean, when you were talking about this, when you were sharing with our class, it's just amazing. This changes the whole playing field.
It does. And what I love that we're doing together is we're putting it in the hands of people who deserve it. It's a funny thing. I've been doing sales training for a long time. I realized that I can bring people to people's doors, but if they don't make the sales, I'm going to lose a client, right?
Mm.
So I started taking that on. And the first one was a big, well, medium size company that had real salespeople, dedicated full time, a bunch of them. And it was funny. The new ones were like, yes, Rick, I want to hear from you. The older ones were like, no, I know how to do it, son. And I had to deal with those attitudes. And it's okay. I was able to get over it. But it's funny that the people, what I'm finding the trend is that the people who actually care about their clients are more in tune going, I want to sell, but I want to sell differently.
Mm.
And that's what these tools are for. That's who use them the most because they're not relying on the weirdness. They're getting better intel because they're open. They're open to help the client. They're open to actually solve a problem. Therefore, they're open to do a better job, champion. But you have the old classical salespeople. They're like, I know X, Y, Z. I'm going to build rapport, and then I'm going to pressure you, and then I'm going to give you a deal, and then I'm going to downsell you and upsell you, and all this weird crap, right? And that's why a lot of people hate sales.
Mm.
And they have a jaded look on that, which they should. I get it because they don't want to be that salesperson. And then they run into people like you and I go, well, wait, that is sales, but there's a different way to sell. There's a different way to do it these days. And so I find that is the good people that actually care. And that's who starts making the money. And that's the way it should be.
Great. Well, I'm going to have your contact information below. If
Cool.
somebody calls you, what would they expect that conversation to entail?
First, it's going to be so my job, I do what's called consultation selling. And so do you. So what we do is, first of all, I'll know things about them already. You already know the intel. I know how to help them, but I'm going to validate that conversation. I'm going to talk about, hey, this is what I'm seeing, what's going on in the industry. How's it with you? Great. And then I do come to with solutions like, listen, this is what you should be doing. If I were you, I'd be doing this, 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 and this, and that's going to help you with that challenge. Right. And then through that experience, we're actually, this is kind of cool. We are really, I'm interviewing them. Right. I'm seeing, do they get what I'm saying? Do they trust what I'm saying? Are we working together good now or not? Or do they have a barrier of, you know what I mean? I met some guy the other day, and it was like, I'm like, okay, so let's be direct with each other. What are you thinking? Right? Because it was just such a barrier. And by the way, yeah, it was wild. And I was like, okay, well, this is not going to be a good thing, right? This is not going to be a fun relationship at all. So that conversation is really good. So we get to dance before we're talking about the business. And generally, there's some business to be done, but we figure that out throughout the conversation. So my job is to help you.
There you go. All right. Any closing thoughts?
Yes, I started with this. So this is a little thing from my mom, a little tribute to one of the wisest words. Yeah. So I'm an artist privately trained since the third grade. And I hit middle school and they had computers, they had music. And my mom saw that I was stressed. She goes, "You're stressed. Why?" And I said, "Because I want to do these things, but I don't want to mess up my career as an artist." And she said, "You're worried about the wrong thing." She said, "Do what you love and figure out how to make money with it."
Mm,
And so that's what I do every day. And that's what I love doing for others within the realms of branding, marketing, and sales.
great. Hey, Giants, I hope that you're enjoying this episode and that you'll stick around and watch this episode, whichever side it's on. All right, well, I will have your contact information below, and please make sure to reach out to Rook and find out how to start your magic.
Awesome, dear. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Rook. I really appreciate your time.
Anytime, dear.
All